Okay, we are live. Rock and roll. What's up, Siegfried? Hey, Lee. Hey, Kevin. What's shaking? We got some pretty cool stuff going on in the world of helium, and also have some cool stuff coming out today on GeoNet. So I think they're doing the AMA today. If not, my bad. But Max and I proposed a thing there that is going to get announced today that we're pretty psyched on. So waiting for a couple folks to come in here. I think we're going to get some special guests, but we'll see. And we'll talk about what's going on with Solana. What's up, Gregory? Jay, what's shaking? Oh, you guys are in Austin. How's consensus? I know a bunch of folks there, Scott and Abai, and the rest of it. Dustin, how you doing, man? Super good to see everybody. Let's see. So, WTV, yo, what's up, dog? Here we go. Let me see if I can get Daniel in here. Stand by. We'll go to 4. We'll do this. And there we go. Cool. We got, I think Neil may not come in, so I will remove his name. And Paul may or may not come in as well. So might just be you and me, Daniel. We'll see.
Let's see. How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm doing well. How are you doing? Let me move you up here.
I put
Ooh,
my
very
Solana
cool.
hat.
You got your Solana hat on. Fancy. Very
Yeah,
fancy.
it's on. It's on. Yeah, man, it's good. It's been pretty busy past, let's say, 3 weeks.
Dude,
Um,
it's been bananas.
I think everyone, yeah, I can only imagine like what the foundation and Nova team and everybody else who is involved with this project is going through, right? It's pretty cool. It's very exciting. Like I think basically everything that we've been talking for a long time, right? Like the move to Solana is going to allow a lot of different things to come.
Yep.
And it was slowly we're starting to see that happening, like places that you can like decentralized exchanges that you can like trade tokens and can like swap and all the crazy things that you can do with DeFi as well, be able to
Yeah.
do with the Helium tokens. I mean, it's
Yeah.
still very early. To be honest, I have had almost no time to look at this yet.
Yeah.
Um, because I mean, we can talk a little bit about Hotspot as well. Um, but yeah, it's been pretty busy, but
Yeah.
exciting times ahead.
And it's funny, you and I have I think we have the same kind of approach to the tokens, which is like, I mean, they're great. They're certainly helpful, but they're not our core focus or our primary kind of driver. Um,
Yeah.
so it's
Yeah,
it's
I
been
mean,
funny to see everyone else blow up about them, and you and I are like, fuck, what are we gonna do? Like, I don't know. Maybe I'll do nothing. I don't know.
yes. I'd guess like my backstory with crypto is kind of like this as well. Like I've been in crypto since 20, I don't know, 11, 2012, but I've never been the guy with like leaving crypto, like the crypto memes up and buying, selling, going crazy. I just like to buy here, let them there, and just wait. I have other
Yep.
things to keep myself busy.
Yeah.
Wasn't
Yep.
like my main focus. So same thing with the helium tokens, and like the IoT tokens now. Like there was like a nice spike the other day, and like, should I sell something? And like, wait, you know what? I'm too busy to like get distracted for a few hours with this.
Yeah.
Hopefully it just go up in the future.
Yeah. I mean, I sold some just like a lot of this stuff. I just want to see what happens, and how the whole
Yeah,
process works because we get so many questions about it that it's good to have some information to pass on. But yeah,
I
it has
agree.
been pretty rad to see all the staking stuff. And I know Bobby slash Chad is on here, and Chad Dawson, he's been like, hey, this is why this is such a big deal. Yeah, staking's been, Jesus, like the source of 90% of all questions in the past week that I've been seeing.
Yeah, I follow your video by the way. Thanks for that.
Oh, good.
This that
Good.
was
Yeah.
pretty nice because yeah.
Neil and I have been trying to put out
I
videos that are just like super short and useful.
Yeah, man, it's the thing I think with crypto is like the best way to learn is just by doing. So
Yeah.
you just like get a small amount of money and then go to town and try to like you may lose it, but at least you learn something. Of
Yeah.
course, don't do that with a lot of money, but I think crypto the best way to learn things just by trying instead
Yeah.
of you could spend the whole day reading, right? And
Yep.
then you don't know anything.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. You don't connect the dots until you do it. I mean, I think that's the way it is for most of us. It's funny because people will say like, "Oh, I'm a learn by doing." I'm like, humans are learn by doing. Like that's not special. That's how we all fucking learn. Because I think there's this thing like, oh,
Exactly.
some people learn best by reading, or some people learn best by seeing. It's like, it's all a combination.
Yeah.
Let's see. So the main thing that has been on your plate though is actually it's two things, right? It's kind of making sure Hotspotty is running,
Yes.
which is kind of
I
big,
mean,
kind of a big deal.
yeah, a little bit.
Okay.
Um, so yeah, so for Hotspotty, I mean, there's a lot of things that we're doing right now, right?
Yep.
The first, of course, we do like had a partnership with the foundation to help them build the Helium Explorer.
Yep.
So we released the most basic features, and then the idea is to improve from there, along with the foundation team and other people. Um, it was funny because I think it was like 3 a.m. I was in Sofia in Bulgaria when Joe decided to switch the website, and then because the network went down, like I shut down some of our hotspot servers, and
Yeah.
then immediately had a bunch of visits again. It's like, oh no, I have to fix that. But basically, me and Max spent a lot of time reworking the whole backend, the whole front end of the website. That if you look at now, it's much faster. We take advantage of the same like map.
Oh, I think your internet might have dropped there. Huh. All right. Well, while he's figuring out his internet, I will tell you that I had an interesting exchange on Twitter where I'd said, "Hey, the reason that let's see, a reason that Explorer is down and Hotspotty is taking over it as well as Helium Geek is that here he comes back in. There you go. Take two.
Sorry, now internet's back good, but I don't know what happened. My Chrome froze. And so I was saying that yeah, we had to rework the whole map. The website's like super fast now. They have the issue that you have to calculate a lot of the hexagons around. Um, so yeah, it's just like removing some features to increase others and go from there. I think overall it's going to be much better, and our servers are super happy with that as well.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. All right. Sam, am I getting that right? I was thinking it's Guten Tag, but I could be totally fucking wrong.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
totally. That actually is my last name. It's super fun. I don't speak any German at all,
Okay.
but it actually means good day in German. My whole life I've been told that it means good. It's like a whole thing.
But you've
But yeah,
never
no,
actually
Guten Tag actually is
see
my last name. Yeah.
proves that. Let's see. So I wanted to kind of put a bow on the last thing that Daniel was saying with Hotspotty and Explorer because I see in the chat folks are saying that people miss the old Explorer. I thought it cost something like $10,000 a month for Foundation to run Explorer, and I put that on Twitter, and I think both Abai and Amir were like, "Yeah, you should multiply that by 10 and add some other numbers, way more than 10,000 a month." So Daniel, I mean, it's your business. I'm not going to ask you how much it costs a month to run, but when people are wondering why the old Explorer is gone, it was extraordinarily expensive, and there was no way that Foundation was ever going to get a return on that. So they turned it over to the market, which you're looking at one player in that market right here with Daniel. So pretty cool, dude. So Sam, what's been on your plate? I see you've been super active in Explorer, kind of explaining all the latest to everybody. What's top of mind?
Yeah, gosh. No, I mean, honestly, there's still so much going on. Right now we're kind of working through the last of our bugs, dealing with the Apple App Store in particular. Right now is, I can call that a bug. A lot of the code and a lot of the work needs to be done around claiming and staking and delegating that where people are having issues with is all very, very close to being resolved. It's just a matter right now of some of these apps just getting through the App Store. So that's been a lot of our time. It's a lot of them working on the documentation, trying to be out in the community, gather all the information we have, see the questions that come up, see the kind of repetitive things that come up, see the more nuanced things that come up,
Yep.
and try to get those kind of solutions documented as best we can.
Yeah. So let's see.
But
One question I think we're going to see a bunch, and I'm curious. I haven't actually asked anyone this. Is will LandRush be extended because people can't do some kind of thing? Do you see? I don't see that happening, but I see a lot of questions that are going to come down the pipe. Like I miss LandRush because
yeah,
my phone was whatever broken or I didn't update.
yeah. I got to be honest. I don't have the exact official statement to give you on whether it's going to be extended, but it pretty confident no, it's not going to be extended. It's already been extended from 7 to 10 days as part of the migration, try to accommodate some of the stuff.
Yep.
But there is a point in time at which we have to draw the line somewhere.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. I mean, I don't know. Like my stuff's working, so I'm on board with it. But I really feel for people who like kind of didn't really pay attention to this and they just missed out.
It,
Like I get their
you
point.
know, I'm in that, yeah, I'm in that boat too. And not that that should make anybody feel better or worse in any way, but you know, I'm right here with the whole community on some of these things. I can't claim from some of my hotspots. I'm having issues just as much as everyone else. So it's not a community thing and Foundation has secret keys or anything like that. It's, you know, it is affecting everyone unilaterally.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. So there's the whole claiming thing, the staking thing. We're seeing some folks are not able to, what is it, exchange HNT for IoT. I've seen that kind of complaint a bunch, and it seems like.
Yeah.
Go ahead. How do you what do you tell people to do?
Well, you know, that one it's interesting and it's hard because we have the in-app swap, which right now
Yeah.
we are not, you know, not financial advice, do your own research, all of the fun legal disclaimers. I can hear Josh at the foundation already just gnawing on the back of my neck just in case.
Yeah.
But the internal swap feature that's built into the app right now is based on how the treasuries are funded. The treasuries are very new, like days old. They're very low reserves. So that's
Yep.
probably not going to be your best swapping option. There are other, you know, DEXs out there, which is DEX is it's DEX for anybody that's not aware. It's a decentralized exchange. Right now in the Helium wallet app at the bottom right hand corner, this little globe DApp Explorer icon. From there, one of the pre-filled options for Jupiter. Jupiter is an existing DEX on the Solana ecosystem. There are pretty good rates there. A reminder to everyone, again, do your own research. It's not financial advice. The
Yeah.
market is crazy right now. It's brand, all these tokens are they're all brand new. So it's kind of a wild ride out there. But those kind of issues, if you're having issues swapping using DEXs, that's not going to pass the buck to the DEX, but it's going to be one of those things that you need to maybe follow up with them as well. You should be able to do everything just fine within the Helium app. If you don't want to use the Helium app, you can export your private keys to a Phantom wallet and then use the just any web browser. You can import your wallet into Phantom and do all the exchanges through there as well.
Yeah. I haven't. I mean, Joey's been telling me, he's like, do this thing and export to the Phantom and do this fancy thing. And I'm like, I could barely keep up with what's going on in the Helium app.
Yeah, no, it's kind of we're on this edge of just like the beginning of the wild ride. I don't know. So I grew up in Ohio. If anyone knows, like the Top Thrill Dragster was one of the big roller coasters that came to America's roller coast up in Cedar Point. But there's this moment of it, all the whole ride is like one loop. I think it's like 800 yards total. They just ratchet you back and shoot you up a hill. Right now, we've been ratcheted back. We're about to be launched right into like the bigger crypto sphere in so many ways that it's
Yeah.
fascinating watching so many people come from the Solana ecosystem into our Discord and are just mind blown by like, how do you guys not know the like basic fundamentals of how crypto works? And that's a huge call to action on my part in particular. Like we need to make sure everyone is educated as possible and is being as safe as possible. Generally speaking, if you're not sure, you don't know what to do, don't touch weird NFTs. I can't stress that enough.
Yeah.
Don't do anything like that. The wallet is getting better at kind of hiding some of those, but please, if you don't know what you do, don't do anything. Come ask the community, get a few answers, and then look for the mods and mentor names to really call out answers for you. But yeah, just take your time and let's all learn together.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was thinking about that because the Helium, I think, was one of the biggest crypto projects in terms of getting people not in the tech world to get into crypto without even knowing, right? Because it's so you didn't even know that you're dealing with crypto when you're actually working with Helium. So now that they transitioned to Solana, there's like a new door that just opened, and like, okay, well, now we're in this whole scamming world. They think they can like your wallet can get airdrop some scammy NFTs or something weird. So people who don't follow anything can be tricked, right? So that's like opens a little bit of like risks as well,
Mm-hmm.
and
Yeah,
opportunities for people to learn. So people
Yeah.
like Nick here, it's amazing for that to like keep people safe, not to give their seed phrase to strangers, right?
Yeah, 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 yeah. Like, I think the hard thing is that we all say like learn from my mistakes, but what I've noticed is you really have to make your own mistakes in order to truly learn from them. Like, yeah, look, I've given my seed words away accidentally, thinking I was giving them to support, and that cost me whatever it was, 18 ETH plus all the NFTs I bought. So at the time, about $46,000, which I don't care who you are, that's a good chunk of money, and that fucking stung. And I would love that no one else has to learn that lesson, but I'd heard the same advice 1,000 times before I did that stupid thing. Don't give your seed words to anyone. Don't put your 12 words in. And I think I got to be very careful about how I say this. Part of the problem is that everyone is so everyone for me has been so damn helpful. And so I was so used to everyone being super helpful that when this, scam support came along and they're like, oh yeah, you just got to put it in here. We're doing this update over to the server and the 10,000 XY. I was like, oh, well, it's just someone else being helpful. And I got fucked completely by that. So you do have to be super, super careful. Let's be very clear about this NFT thing, because I think I really want to make sure it's clear. There are scum-sucking fuckers who are dropping in fake NFTs to your wallet. And when you do anything other than fucking look at that NFT, if you touch it, if you click it, if you try and find out what it is, they will drain your fucking wallet. They are super sophisticated. They will completely fuck you, and all of the work that you've done in Helium will be gone. So I wouldn't touch a fucking thing unless you are super sure of what you're doing. And even then, I would say, hey, before I do this, get on Discord, get on the general thing, get on the Solana Transition channel, and say, hey, this is what I'm seeing. I don't know if you can put screenshots in there. Like, is this okay? And don't worry about asking a stupid question for the 10,000th time. The more you ask it, the more it becomes apparent that, we, whether it's Helium Foundation or myself or Daniel or whatever, have to put out much, much clearer messaging about this and make sure that it's really obvious as to kind of what the scams are and what are not. So
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, exactly. And a thing to remember too with the way some of these NFT scams work is just tapping or interacting with it right away. It may not do anything right away. There are pretty notorious ones that will wait 5, 6, 7 months and then drain your account. And you really have no idea what's going on. It's definitely kind of a loaded bear trap for sure.
Yeah. Super tough. Let's see. There's some talk in the chat about these NFTs. Yeah, it's just like don't unless you know for sure what you're doing, don't do anything. So
yeah, actually, maybe one other thing, advice I've seen in the community a little bit is that there's the ability within the Solana ecosystem to do what is called a burn. You can burn an NFT and you actually get a little bit of soul back from doing that. If you don't know exactly what that means and exactly how to do that already, just don't. It'd be very easy to unintentionally burn one of your hotspot NFTs. And at that point, now no one can ever claim those rewards. Maybe you can leave it plugged in because it'll keep transferring data for the network and you can be a good citizen that way. But don't burn NFTs unless you're 100% certain what you're doing.
Yeah. Yep. Okay, I think we made that pretty clear. And really, I think the single best place to get information on this, if you kind of need a real-time update, is there's a general path that I follow with new questions is I'll go into the Helium Discord, I'll go into general, I'll do a search for the key terms in my question, like burning NFTs or NFT scams. I'll see what other people have said. I'll go read through those messages. If I don't find a very clear answer, then I'll just ask it right there. I don't know if as a mod I've got some special privilege and I can put an image in there, or if anyone can put an image in there, but I'll also, wherever I can, use screenshots.
Yeah, I think everyone should be able to. If not, I can take a look at that. Yeah.
Cool. Let's see, MC and Vision Grid. Yeah, so Vision Grid, I got a bunch of flack about the interview I did with Justin over at RevoFi. It appears that RevoFi is a scam. But people were like, oh, you're an asshole for not taking that thing down. It's like, well, look, there's a lot of projects out there, and it's just giving people information. You make your own decision, just like I made my own decision on that one. Siegfried's got this cool idea, or not that it's unique to him, but he's a super smart cat. Use a wallet. You have your locked NT positions on only for managing them. So just kind of splitting things out, and you have like your fuck around wallet, and then you have the stuff that is actually important to you. So, let's see. You guys are asking what we're prioritizing as far as HNT, IoT, and mobile. I guess we can talk about that at the end. But we've got one that we get all the time. When locking your HNT, what's the difference between constant and decaying? There goes the dog. Sam, you want to hit that? Because it was Cliff, now it's Decay. It'll walk us through what that means.
Yeah, absolutely. So that switch from Cliff to Decay, excuse me, I'm finding a little bit of congestion, so if I just mute and sneeze, please don't, sorry. Hopefully I'll get to the mute button first. So the language switch from Cliff to Decay was ideally intended just to be a little more clear what's actually happening. So maybe it might be better to kind of explain the difference between a decay and a constant lockup. Those are your two lockup options. Let's say you were to do a 1 year, constant and a 1 year decay. At the time you initiate the lockup, you have the maximum amount of voting power. If you were to do a constant lockup, it stays that maximum amount until you manually choose to begin the cooldown. At that point, it's a linear cooldown, try to be on screen, a linear cooldown for 1 year, because it was a 1 year lockup. It'll take 1 year to fully decay and unlock your HNT. If you choose a decaying lockup, that linear cooldown period starts immediately. So 1 year from now, you'll have all of your tokens back. The trade-off there is that as time progresses, your voting power decreases, your delegation power decreases. So we're working on some better graphics to help explain this in the docs and in the staking and community governance pages. There are some visuals to help with this. We're continually trying to evolve those, but keep asking questions. I know the words are funny. We're trying to be good citizens of the Solana ecosystem as well and use words that whole world uses, which are not always the ones that maybe we would have chosen. You can tell it's a lot of engineers, and I say that both as a good and a bad thing.
Yeah.
And the language choices over there.
Yeah. Let's see, Daniel, are you seeing anything on the hotspotty side that's coming kind of that you think might be unique to the information or data flow stream that you're getting that might be helpful for people to see? Are you getting a lot of the same questions to hotspotty that maybe you're not seeing in the general discords?
I mean, I haven't spent too much time in general Discord, but what we see in our chat, because like we have the Hotspot Connect now, so a lot of people have been using those for onboarding the hotspots, and I think some makers are having some issues still with the onboarding of those devices. This transition period, I think it's a little bit not super stable, I guess. But in terms of rewards, I think that's like like pretty easy right now. Like Sam actually pinged me in a small bug yesterday. Thanks for that.
Yeah.
And I think it's just like some confusion. Like there's a lot of like because the network's so big, there's so many people that even know that Helium moved to Solana. What is Solana?
It's crazy,
You
right?
know, like yeah. So it's so there's a lot of like once we put a little like little warning on Hotspot saying like, okay, the Solana is happening, Solana migration is happening. If you have any questions, join our Discord. So you got a lot of new people on Discord, and a lot of people like, what's happening on Discord? Who's Hotspotty? What's Helium? Like, you know, like some people like didn't follow anything that's happening. So I think it's a period of like understanding that it's a new network. And it's the same network and a new protocol, and there's a lot of changes there. A lot of people just like sitting, waiting, not doing anything. That's another thing that I see.
Yeah.
But nothing, I think that's like super different.
Okay. Cool. Let's see. We're seeing the classic. How do you convert IoT to HNT? You do that in the black Helium Wallet app, not in the blue one. Blue one basically doesn't work anymore. And it should be pretty straightforward. I think where is it? It's in like the bottom right, the globe at the bottom right. You hit that and then go to whatever the top thing is, HNT, and there'll be no, you go to JUPAG, JUP.ag, and then that will allow you to swap it out. And I think that is the worst exchange rate. But again, as Sam said earlier, like do your own research. There's other places to exchange these things, but that's the easiest way to do it is in the app. Yeah. Sam, anything on top of that?
Yeah, no, you nailed it. It's you can swap directly within the app. You're probably not going to get a great rate because the treasuries are so new. So if you're using the other methods of trading, the dexes like the Jupiter one you mentioned, you're probably getting a slightly better rate. But be aware, do your research, take your time. It's better to look twice, click once. Than anything else.
Look like 9 times, click once.
Yeah.
Let's see. Neil said he's doing a bunch of deployments, but would watch. He dropped this question. You guys should talk about what token you want to hold. Lots of people think they should swap HNT for IoT. I don't think you're allowed to have an official position on that, Sam. So I won't ask you. Feel free to jump in if you want to. Daniel, have you thought about this? Or not?
No, I just have my IoT, I have my mobile, and I have my very little mobile. But I have mostly IoT and HNT. I'm very big fan of IoT project by itself more than the mobile in terms of like utility, especially because I'm not in the US. But I think on these things I go a lot of like the project that I like and the side of the project I like the most. So I would pick more IoT, but that's just like very personal. Don't take any, like on my side.
Yeah. I know there was an opportunity if you were a risky YOLO motherfucker to sell all of your all of one token to get a bunch of another and then to swap it back 2 days later and get like a 50% or 150% or 200, whatever the ridiculous thing
Yeah.
was. Like, yeah, there are sophisticated people out there, and there are just like super risky people out there who are doing all kinds of shit. And you're going to hear stuff where like, oh yeah, I tripled my HNT, or I got 1,000 into this, or whatever that. Like, look, if you don't understand, I'm just like, don't do it. Kind of go back to that thing where yeah, there's huge opportunities right now, but be very careful.
Yeah,
So
I did remember. Was it USDT and Ethereum? I did like how do you call them? I put them to like to
arbitrage
help
stuff,
with the
yeah,
DEX
yeah,
just to play around, and I forgot about it. And when I looked like a few months later, I lost like a bunch of money. Not a bunch of money because I didn't put, but it goes back to just like play around and try to understand by doing. I lost like $200, not that much, but still, I
yeah,
learned that's like you just need to know what you're doing. I guess even knowing what you're doing, you can lose money or make money. So.
yeah. Yeah, and I think WTV is saying that. So the chat that I see is, I don't know, like a minute behind the actual chat. So this might have happened 30 seconds ago. But this is the classic thing. WTV is you can make a lot of IoT and HNT by swapping them back and forth. You can totally do that. You could also probably lose your ass. So have fun with that, but know that you are in a risky spot.
Yeah.
So yeah, the craziest
Yes.
thing to me has been the people who've been like, hey, what's this Solana thing? It's like, oh, hot damn. There's a lot to catch up on.
Yeah. Yeah, it's I mean I can jump in there a little bit. Yeah, it's been very fun to kind of watch so many people. I we even have some like the Discord analytics. There are accounts that are like 2 years inactive that are just like cold storage Discord accounts,
Yep.
kind of reviving themselves and suddenly being like, what's going on? Um, Turns out lots going on, especially if you've been gone for 2 years. Quite a bit has happened.
Yeah.
So much of what is so exciting about the Solana ecosystem is that it is so new, and it's iterating so quickly, and there's so many projects. Like, we are just one little piece of it. We're I should say we're a little piece. We're a big piece, but we're one piece of a much larger puzzle.
Yeah.
If you're a developer, I highly recommend going through the Solana documentation as well. They've done a really great job of putting it together, kind of getting you ramped up, whether you know nothing or you know a little bit. If you know some Rust, if you know some TypeScript, you know some JavaScript, whatever it is, a little bit of, they've got places for you to jump on the ladder and keep climbing. And it continues to grow. Like, there's so many more opportunities and so many ways to now be a part of that ecosystem. Like, you hold Solana native tokens now if you hold HNT, IoT, or mobile, so you can get right in the ecosystem and really be a part of it.
Yeah. Well, let me ask you guys this then. I'm super excited just about the kind of continuing utility and mostly sticking with the LoRaWAN stuff. What are you guys seeing on the kind of developer side? Is like the next 6 months, maybe what are the giant potential unlocks that you see coming from Solana, and be as kind of wild as you can be thinking about it. Not just like what you guys are going to do, but what do you think are some of the potential things that might happen? Do you want me to
Sure.
pick one of you?
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Go ahead.
Go ahead, Daniel. I'll
Go for
start
it.
with you.
Okay. I mean, of course, the thing that we just said, right? The DeFi stuff.
Yep.
But also composability between other projects in the same ecosystem.
Yep. Let's talk
So I
about what
know,
that
like,
means. So composability is fucking thrown around all the time. I would always read it when I first saw it as like compostability. I'm like, the fuck are these people talking about?
throw the
Yeah.
tomatoes in the ground.
Yeah, yeah, but it's just the
Um,
ability to like swap tokens back and forth across anywhere. So it's like a really smooth
yeah,
exchange.
it's basically like, for example, yeah, like other deepin projects that are in the same blockchain. They can much easier interact with each other that's on the blockchain level, right? Because like, for example, Hive Mapper, they're using Helium IoT for like the geolocation. That's one thing, but then the way you could like integrate, make some smart contracts between Honey and AGT or IoT to do all the crazy things. So like, I think the smart contracts ability for me is the most exciting thing.
Yeah,
And I think it's a lot of things that we don't even know yet, but it can come, right?
yeah.
Um,
When you dream about what might happen, Daniel, and you may just have a different perspective. Like I don't have any limits on what I dream about because I just don't know what's possible. Is what do you think when you like what could happen? Are you seeing that there are people who could say like, hey, I want to put a stake of whatever HNT against this one spot to get mapped on Hive Mapper, which is what GeoNet is about to announce something very similar to that. Like what are kind of your big dreams or like, oh my God, this could happen because of this?
yeah, I mean, I think a lot of things that we envisioned in the beginning with Hotspot to do like more like a Web 2 play. can be now done as Web3. Like we had this concept, how we used to call but what's the word? Like I forgot the word now, but like you want to have coverage in certain area, you can put like a bounty in this region, and
Yep.
then this and if people actually make put hotspots in there, and there is actually coverage being built, that the token can be paid for that person,
Yeah.
and things like this being on Web3 and kind of being automatic, would be super exciting to have.
Yeah.
The anti-gaming of this is a bit complicated, but that's just technical things, right? Like you need to dream, forgetting about the technicalities, and then you found out along the way.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. Yeah. Don't watch the GeoNet AMA today. I think you're gonna be pretty psyched about what those guys are doing. That's all
nice in my
Max
calendar.
Gold's idea. Cool, Sam. When you kind of dream about what might happen without any limitations, what are you thinking?
Yeah, it's really exciting, and I'm actually going to be able to quickly touch on some of the things coming through the chat here. I figured
Sure.
out where that little chat bubble is. Sorry,
Yeah. Yeah. Take your time.
but so we've got Sigrid saying, I love Solana. I'd really love a non-dev targeted how to read the blockchain course. In the next 6 months, I promise you, we're going to have that. Probably in the next 2 months, I'm actively working on that right now because I'm kind of in that same boat. A lot of us coming from the Helium ecosystem understand what an explorer is to mean very explicitly what the Helium Explorer was.
Yep.
Which, a reminder, if anyone's trying to get a hold of that, it's explorer-old.helium.com. You can go see the information. It does stop when the blockchain was officially halted to begin the migration. So it is old data, but it is there. But in the next few months, I think we're really going to see this explosion of developers coming on board and building new products with all of this data. We've got so many ways and hooks and some of the data oracles and the off-chain POC things. It really is going to be amazing. I can't speak to any kind of specific timelines on things, but I would, where we're just kind of blue sky dreaming about it, I'd love for the deny list to go away in the next 6 months and be able to address those kind of concerns and those problems on a per beacon basis. Moving all of this off chain gives us the ability to kind of leverage, what I'm going to call old school, data pipelines and data infrastructure that's going to allow us to do things more directly. That, one hotspot might have a bad beacon. That doesn't mean it has infinite bad beacons. It doesn't necessarily mean they're going to fall to these, common, pitfalls. So it really is going to be the amount of data that has been unlocked and the amount of effort and energy that's been taken off of our core developers by moving to a different blockchain. And also, while at the same time leveraging developers on that blockchain, we're letting the race car drivers drive the car. We get to go be mechanics, or I guess actually it's kind of the other way around. But we're letting people focus and really prioritize what it is they're good at,
Yeah.
while hopefully opening the door to bring in more people. So it really is a blue sky. If you've got ideas, the Discord is another great place. Just talk about them. People want to hear. We want to see what's going on.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think some of the stuff that I think about are all these different ideas for sub DAOs, and I think I got to be very clear. Like we're just totally dreaming here, and a lot of this shit takes a lot of work and isn't totally fully thought through. But the idea for mapper sub DAOs, for a Wi-Fi sub DAO, for any kind of wireless sub DAO that you can think of, and then those things able to connect with all of these other projects, whether it's HiveMapper or Demo or Anode Labs or GeoNet or whatever it is, like all of a sudden that stuff starts to get super exciting when you say like, hey, here's basically the radio map of this area when it comes to LoRaWAN. Here's how we get it down to centimeter accuracy with GeoNet. Here's where the power is coming out of and how we're monitoring that with Anode. And then here's a picture of that specific house so that it's there with HiveMapper. Like as those things start to connect together, we start to get a pretty giant community brain about what's happening in the world and have very like objective data that right now, you can get by going to that house and looking at their panel and kind of doing a bunch of work, but you can't do it at scale. And that seems like the kind of crazy thing that's come down the pipe.
Yeah.
Dipping for the win.
Yeah. Let's see. Brent, is everyone just super optimistic about Helium IoT mining? I've spent thousands on building a bunch of miner setups and now it seems dead. Everything seems to be moving to mobile. I don't think so, Brent. I don't think it's dead. I think here's the thing is that if you're in it and you focus on the utility of those IoT hotspots and using LoRaWAN to do stuff that only LoRaWAN can do, then I think you're set up for success. If you're just putting the mining units up there, the miners up there solely to earn tokens, yeah, you're probably going to not get a payback fast. And I wouldn't say that you're going to get fucked, but I would say like you're not going to get what you would have gotten a year ago. And so you really got to focus on like, how do I use this thing? How do I let people in my area know? And I'll kind of go a little bit off piste here. Is that here in San Diego, there's I think there's a magazine called Edible San Diego, and it's this lady that she's the editor in chief of this thing, and she runs all these different kind of food pieces around San Diego. So whether it's a food truck or a restaurant or farmers, there's more farms in San Diego County than any other county in the U.S. They're all really small. We have a super diverse geography. Is I think one thing that I'm approaching her about is like, hey, let's do a technology course for your farmers, right? And we can use LoRaWAN because San Diego is super hilly. We had in the early days, a lot of people put miners up on top of mountains. So San Diego probably has better coverage than almost any other county in the US. And I can then go to those farmers, run a very basic hacker course, right? Because I'm limited by my own understanding, and say, here's how to use soil moisture sensors. Here's how to use, this thing. Here's how to use the, whatever it is. If you want to monitor your water, if you want to do all these things that you couldn't do before because Wi-Fi didn't reach, or it was too hard, or someone else was selling you this thing for like way more cost. Let me show you how to do it really simply and really cheaply. And that ends up using, data credits that they put in that go through my hotspot or other hotspots and just builds the whole network. I think that kind of thinking is where you end up benefiting the most. But just sitting and having your miners up there and hoping that they earn, I don't think that's a good strategy for earning a lot. So, yeah, I don't know if you guys have anything on top of that.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. Like, you never know, right? The token can go up. I mean, the token is also correlated to the cycles that we are in. And right now, it's not only helium that's down, everything else. Not even just the crypto market, but everything else, right? So,
Yeah.
it's hard to say exactly what's going to happen, but at least in the past 10 years, whatever's happening now happened many times. And so it was like this, right? So we could be in the bottom of, or we can still have some all the way to go. So we can uh, just play your risk level, I guess.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. And do the
I mean,
fun
I,
shit.
I just yeah, and also like do a quick shout out to Neil because I got this really nice tab here.
Yeah. We all
That
got to
I'm
grab our
I'm, I'm
tabs. Hang on a second. Mine's like
Yeah, hold
more
on.
than
Yeah.
arm's length away.
like, because like I'm in Brussels right now. Next week I'm moving back to Lisbon. My girlfriend's gonna ship a bunch of stuff from Brussels to Lisbon after I'm already there, and I told her like, okay, just charge this, put inside one of the boxes, so then we can see the moving company going
Yep.
through like Belgium to Portugal.
Yep. They
And she
stop
was
at the
like, oh my God,
bars.
this is so exciting. Exactly. Maybe they go to some other country, they go to Slovakia or something. You never know. So
Yeah.
it's like, I think it's gonna be pretty cool use case.
Yeah.
I'm very
But yeah,
excited about this.
they'll go say hi to the Heliotics guys. All right,
Yeah,
Sam,
exactly.
let's see. Visions Grid asking, I've read that the next helium house is in London. Is this confirmed?
I don't know. I don't want to confirm that.
It
I've
is a
heard similar,
guarantee.
but I
Hell
can't
yes.
confirm. Yeah.
Let's
Garrett,
go.
you know what? I will be there. It'll be just me and a small tent on a random street of London. You just got to find me.
Yeah,
I'll give you a
we've done
sticker or
something
something.
similar. That'd be super cool. Let's see. Brent Wasty, I'm still confused. Do I stake? Do I claim all my hotspots? Don't claim your hotspots. Don't worry about that at all. Don't do anything with your hotspots, especially if you're asking that question. We covered this a little bit earlier in the show. There's a lot more to it, but you don't need to do anything. And then on the question, should you stake? We should probably bring up the kind of time left. It's right now 9:30 in the morning Pacific. I think we have something like 7.5 hours left to stake and earn LandRush bonus. I might be a little off on that, but you don't have much time left.
Yep.
Yep. If you wanted to stake, remember that you're locking up whatever tokens you're staking. So whatever HNT you stake, if you stake it for a year, it'll be a year before you get that HNT back and have access to it. In exchange for staking it, you'll earn voting power. So you'd have the ability to help steer the ship when it comes to helium. Your vote will count for more or less depending on how much you stake and how long you stake it for. But whether or not you should stake, I mean, that's your kind of risk decision. I think I'm going to stake all of my stuff for at least 6 months because I might keep like 100 HNT or like some small portion just like sitting around in case something pops up. But most of the rest of it, I think I'll stake it for at least 6 months. But that's just me. That should not automatically be you.
Yeah.
So, but and there is, I know Brent. It does take a while to go to Discords. Bobby or Chad had said go to Discord. There's a ton of stuff there. If you use the search function, it makes it a lot easier. But yeah, I totally get there's a ton of info there.
Yeah, and if anyone's trying to keep track of the actual LandRush period ending on the Helium Explorer. So helium or explorer.helium.com/stats, or if you just go to explorer.helium.com and on the upper, top menu bar there's a tab called Network Stats. There is a little box for the LandRush period end with an active live, to the block timer countdown.
Cool.
So it's
And
we're 7
I don't
hours
think
and
we
19
talked about
minutes
what
out.
LandRush was. It's a 3x rewards in your staking. So if you stake one HNT, it's as if you staked 3. If I'm getting that right, my math might be fucking terrible, but
Yeah, no, that's exactly right. So there are already kind of built-in, additives for the duration of your stake. For example, a like 4-year stake gets a 100x multiplier. If you are staking within this first 10 days, there's an additional 3%, or sorry, 3x. So,
yep,
if you had one HNT for, 4 years, that'd be 100 VE HNT. And because we're in the land rush, it's 300 VE HNT. So one thing I also do want to make sure we touch on real quick is it's important for people to understand VE HNT, which is vote escrowed Helium Network Token. So that's just a mouthful. So VEHNT is not the same as HNT. So when you get that big number, it says you have 1,000 VEHNT. That does not mean you're getting 1,000 HNT back out when your stake and your
yep.
delegation and everything ends. You're going to get out the HNT tokens that you put in. In the meantime, you can delegate to different sub-DAOs and earn tokens that way. But please don't think if I put this in, I'm going to get 3x the HNT back out. That's just not quite how the system actually works.
Right. And there is an earning component, but there's one more step in order to earn. And the things that you earn are not HNT tokens. They'll be mobile or IoT tokens. So what we've been talking about so far is just staking. If you want to then delegate, you can delegate your VEHNT to one of the 2 current sub-DAOs, and in return, you'll receive some of the tokens that sub-DAO emits. Now, it does get complicated, and I find it's way easier to explain if I got a whiteboard. And I've got one behind me. I don't think that today in this show is the place to do it. But yeah, they're kind of 2 steps, and I think a lot of people got confused on the staking versus delegating and voting versus earning.
Yeah. Another thing we've seen in the Discord quite a bit lately is people staking IoT and mobile tokens to those sub-DAOs as well.
Yep.
You can do that. Currently, today, at this exact moment, there's no token benefit to doing that, let's call it. In the future, and this is part of the new governance structure, those individual sub-DAOs may propose a HIP that allows them to find a way to generate revenue from, or interest or revenue or sorry, those are the words, investment revenue from staking those to those individual sub-DAOs. But right now, it doesn't hurt, it doesn't help. So go ahead and stake if you'd like, but remember that part of that is locking up your tokens. So if you're intending to trade a set of IoT tokens, don't stake them, or you cannot trade them until they've been cooled down.
Yep. Although, and here's, if we go back to the dreaming thing, I am pretty fucking sure someone is going to figure out a way to say like, hey, if I could somehow get control over your VEHNT and you give that up, like you can trade against that. That's my guess is what's going to happen in the next like 6 months. It's like, oh, you locked it up and you really want it back at some premium that's I would consider ruinous. You can then borrow their HNT and do something with it.
It's just a matter of time before the loan sharks appear. Yeah, it's it'll be a thing, I'm sure.
Yep.
I mean, another thing that you can do is wrap the tokens. Like in Lido, Ethereum Lido, you can have you stake your Ethereum for stake ETH, and that's another token that's 1-to-1 to Ethereum. Then you could do all the things. So you can wrap a bunch of times. You could do possibly the same thing with Helium as well, like a stake agent T, and then the stake agent T you can like put into stake and then have the other stake. And it's a lot of cool things that you can do.
Yeah.
That it doesn't really lock. It locks, but you can do you can continue doing other things. You can trade the stake to Ethereum, for example.
Siegfried says there's bribe protocols for VECRV. Yeah, I think there's going to be all kinds of fuckery going on. I like Siegfried's idea of calling it locking and not staking. It's way too late, but it's a good way to think about it. Is that if you're staking it, you're locking it up, and you're not going to get it back until the end of the stake/lock period.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's just one of those, trying to play into the broader ecosystem terms where, yes, I agree. Honestly, I think locking is a better term. But it's, it's one of those, we're trying to be good citizens somewhere.
Cool. If you have staked and delegated, let's talk about this thing from Neil. It ends up going over your head a little bit, Sam. Sorry. Is that there is a test vote.
Oh, no, other way.
There you go. There's a test vote live on Realms. So let's skip over for now what Realms is. We can come back to it. But just say that for right now, there is this the ability to see your voting power kind of and how the vote thing works at basically super small cost to you. The test vote is it's a little bit of a joke. It's like, is vanilla ice cream or chocolate ice cream better? I think the actual question is vanilla better than ice cream, better than chocolate?
Yeah.
Clearly, the answer is yes, but we need to vote on this to to
Yeah.
prove it.
Yeah. No. Yeah, I can jump on that one. So first of all, yes, we're voting vanilla versus chocolate because strawberry is the obvious winner. Let's just get them out of the way. Everybody can fight for second place, and I'll die on that hill. This is the only time I'm ever going to tell anyone how to vote. Strawberry wins, and it's not even an option. um, but yeah, so right now you can use your voting power if you've staked and or delegated, although it just needs to be staked. Using the Helium app, again, through that little globe icon. You can also do it if you've imported your wallet into the Phantom app. You can do it in a web browser.
Oh, really?
But right
Okay, I
now,
didn't know that. Cool.
yeah, yeah. So if you connected via Phantom or imported your wallet into Phantom, you can do it right through a web browser. So Realms is basically just a big fancy front end for what is an underlying Solana governance protocol. So it's just a nicer way to actually see this and hopefully get it out of just the tech sphere. But we've also pretty heavily customized Realms to adapt and focus on the actual needs of the Helium community. This first vote is kind of a throwback to the old Helium vote system where there were three choices. You could actually vote for Strawberry, and I'm going to pretend they won. I don't actually remember. Um, but if anyone wants to cast a vote, this is a great way to test it out. And votes are super cheap. You can see how your voting power actually stacks up and makes a difference. This is also helping us on the foundation side really work out a lot of little kinks and details of how voting is going to work and how to best display the information. For example, right now, one of the aspects of this vote is there's an approval quorum that says, I think it's like 28. I'm looking at it now, like 28 trillion HNT or VEHNT needs to vote. Don't just kind of ignore that for now. We're all testing. We're all being part of the team here. So, as we continue to make this process better and better, it really is pretty exciting.
Cool. What's the cost to vote? I think Chad is asking that.
Yeah.
He says super
So,
cheap. I don't know what it exactly is.
oh yeah, no apologies. So I believe this is one of those things that falls under the category of it's a Solana transaction, which is I never remember how many zeros. It's like a 0 point. I think it's 4 zeros or 5 zeros that are
Hmm.
5 SOL, which I think 100 of those is a tenth of a penny. It's such an infinitesimally small amount. That said, you do need SOL and the SOL token, and that's going to be a big thing to keep us all abreast of moving forward in the Helium and now as part of the Solana ecosystem. Is transactions of the Solana blockchain require SOL versus on the old Helium L1 it required data credits or HNT, and there was the whole concept of implicit burn. If you didn't have enough DC, it would immediately get burnt from your pool of HNT. But yeah, an old vote on the Helium network cost, it was roughly 35 cents, 35 to 50 cents, versus now it is, I think the term we've seen Joey from the foundation use is micro pennies. So
Nice. Nice,
yeah,
Joey.
which yeah, you got to be careful. You got to say that right. But yeah, it's very very small amount of money. So ideally, this is going to lower the barrier to voting too for more people to really get their voice out there.
Cool. You hit something that I think would cause a lot of confusion for people is that to do a lot of the things in the wallet that are considered complex transactions, even though they may seem to us as not complex, you do need SOL, the token, in your wallet. And you need enough of it to do the transaction. What is it? It's like 0.025 SOL is what you need to do any of these like staking things. Is that right?
Yeah, just about. So it can vary a small amount to stake and delegate. I want to say last time I looked at it, it was like 0.016, something
Mm,
like that.
yep.
Um, So to combat that, first of all, as a reminder, everyone that had an active wallet on the old Helium L1 was gifted a small portion of SOL, which is that like enough to do 100 transactions. That is assuming the transaction is like a claim transaction or a transfer transaction, which is that's that whole row of zeros then a five.
Yep.
So you've got enough to do about 100 of those. If you're going to be staking and delegating, yes, that does require a bit more SOL. A great way to get SOL very quickly, if you have HNT and don't quite understand the whole DeFi world just yet, in the Helium docs, there is under the tokens and Solana tokens, there's a built-in widget that you can use through the Helium app. Um, that will allow you to exchange a small amount of HNT for SOL with no fees. Also, at the bottom of that page, and Nick, I can get you the link for that, but at the bottom
Sure.
of that page, there is a video walkthrough, and it's actually me screen recording doing the whole process. So it should be pretty straightforward for everyone. There is a limit to that. Please don't do it more than 100 times. I think it will actually lock you out 100 times. Also, a reminder: this isn't free. That isn't free. I always seen that misconception out there. People are just trying to crank on that button to get free Sol. It's swapping your HNT for Sol, so it's not
Right.
free. It's just no fees. So yeah, that should be a good way to get people up and running.
Okay. Cool. Yeah, I mean, I think I put in one soul, which is I don't know, like 20 24 bucks in there early on.
Yeah.
That seems to have covered all of the fucking around that I've been doing.
Plenty.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that
exactly.
that'll be that's a lot of transactions. 1 to 2 Sol, if you can get a hold of that and get that in your wallet, you're set for probably years, unless you're super active. And at that point, you know where to get more Sol.
Yeah. Yep. Let's see. Lee is telling me to remind people to smash the like, so like, subscribe, all that stuff, all the usual crap. Yeah, I shouldn't make fun of it because it is important to grow this thing and make sure people know what's going on because we still see people coming in with the same questions that guys have come in and girls have come in so far. Um, let's see. Daniel, you were talking about Max, your Max, not my Max, coming on and talking about something, but I didn't understand what it was. Can you give me like an overview of what you guys are really looking at there?
I think it was just like to give a small overview of what we've been working on the past like month or so.
Okay.
Just like refactoring the whole backend infrastructure. There's a lot of work now because before there has the famous Helium ETL, right, which is the database that powers like all the data on the blockchain, and that was split. Maybe for those who don't know that there is no such thing as a Helium blockchain anymore. Now it's Solana, as you know. But the Solana only stores the transaction stuff, right? The tokens and the wallets information and the hotspots as an NFT. Everything else that happens in terms of beaconing, like the information, okay, what are the hotspots that collected the information? What is the signal to noise ratio on those transactions, on the like signal transaction, all that data, it's actually stored on, like it's processed by the Helium like engineering team and then storage on Amazon S3. I guess I don't know if it's, I think it's Nova, right? Or Sam, or that doing the
Yeah, so
bulk.
right now the Nova team is doing a lot of that kind of heavy lifting development, getting us from the old L1 to this new kind of Oracle based world. But the foundation actually runs the S3 buckets.
Ah, okay. So yeah, so but everything's like kind of being stored into like zip files. Let's go like in lame terms, more like a zip files that are being sent to Amazon servers, and then you can download these files, and then you have all the history of the transactions, a list of like all the cells, the heartbeats of the cells. The thing is that it's a lot of data. It's a big chunk of data that's being added every day, and it's not very trivial, I would say, to work with those files. So I think like hats down to everyone that's been working with that, Helium Geek and Paul and us. I think most of the people who are doing that,
Yeah.
and
Hmm.
it's a lot of engineering work to get everything like working, and then just not working, but also like following the network, right? Because so much data is being added all the time. Um, so, like for example, Hotspotting now we're offering an API service to help us with our costs of building on this thing. Because like there before you can just have like the Helium website was like a public API. They can just pull like reward information. Right now, it's not that simple anymore. So I think uh, for leveling with the amount of resource that we put into building this thing, I think we're offering people who really need access to raw data. We can offer that. So yeah, I guess basically that it that Max was going to be talking.
Okay.
I think one thing that we could mention as well is consensus. I don't know.
Oh yeah, there's something going on this week. I've
Yeah,
heard.
right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
FOMO level is high.
Is it? Because this time it hasn't been for me. Max went out there. Max Gold, my partner, went out there yesterday, day before, to check things out, and it seems pretty cool. But it didn't seem like where I was like, the first couple events, I'm like, oh, thank God I went there. This one was like, ah, I bet it was nice, but it wasn't. There wasn't like a huge helium presence there.
I mean, 100%. Like, just think that we were around helium for almost 2 years,
Yeah.
right? Or like 1.5 year when we went to consensus, and it was the first time that after COVID that the whole ecosystem got together in one single place. So
Yeah.
that was like
Mm.
putting face to the name. It was very exciting.
Yeah.
Now it's like we had like the Solana Breakpoint in Lisbon. There was a lot other events. If Denver as well. So I guess this time was as big as the first one in terms of excitement.
Right.
There was like the IoTeX group. They organized the real world event, the same thing
Yep.
that they had in Denver. They also did in Consensus. So that's pretty good. Try to like get the deep in space like some more
Yeah.
like traction. But yeah, definitely. I guess also um, their markets is more calm. In a way, it's nice.
Yeah. 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 It's a little bit more chill. People aren't doing crazy shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's see. I had a question that came through that I'm curious about, and you guys are the ones to know the answer. Is the old Helium blockchain info on the new Solana blockchain? And the reason this was asked to me is some guy was doing his taxes, and he's like, "Oh, do I have to do like two separate transactions, taxes up to April 18th, and then taxes after April 18th?"
Uh, yes. So I maybe get started, and then Daniel cut me off if I start to drift too far. Yes. So right now, all not right now. Yes, for forever, I guess. The old Helium blockchain information is on the whole old chain. What we did to make this migration possible was we took what's called a snapshot, which is more or less the analogy of what it sounds like. We took a picture of the state of the network and transferred that over, and then started on the new chain. So if you're looking for kind of tax information, there's a whole bunch of community tools out there. Those will need to be run against the old chain to get information pre migration. I think we tried to help a little bit. I'm not an accountant, so I don't know the exact dates around tax season, but I think part of the migration happening in that particular day of April should help with that a little bit. But there is going to be a few little edge cases, I'm sure.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, also don't forget, like, there's something that I was finishing before this call. It's like we haven't hotspotted this option that you can export all the rewards. So it's going to export everything that happened in IoT, AgenT, and mobile as well. And we've been working. There's something that we're finishing is actually allowing people to calculate the reward payments for mobile tokens. So I think that's something that people have been asking for a long time. And finally, we have access to the data. So then we're just finishing a part of the Solana migration that we can pay people IoT, mobile, AgenT, dollars, whatever you want to do. So
Badass.
that's something I think people are very excited.
Yeah, and that's a great example of the market solving a problem that someone has, right? I've got the problem of this thing. It's like, oh, I got to do the taxes crap. Where do I get the information? Well, if I can just pay Hotspotty to spit out a report for me, that is totally worth pretty. Don't fucking gouge me, Daniel. But pretty. That's worth pretty much anything that you guys are asking. So that's kind of cool.
Yeah.
Action Crypto is asking about all of the companies involved in Helium, and it is getting a little bit confusing. So there was Helium Inc. Helium Inc. split into Helium Foundation and Nova. Nova then spun off 1663, and then or maybe not spun off is the right word, but 1663 is a part of Nova that's doing IoT only stuff, LoRaWAN only stuff, and then now there's Helium Mobile as well, which is I'm not sure where that actually fits in, to be totally honest.
Yeah, well,
There
I
was
can
a DY, right?
Oh, there's DY
Yeah.
Foundation as well. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, no, it's many faces, many names for sure. It's fun. One of my favorite trivia facts for myself. I think I was technically the last Helium Inc. employee, and then also somehow the first Nova employees. I signed a contract to start, and my daughter was born. Took 2 months, and then started. And in that 2 months or so, the company changed names. So that was definitely fun. But yeah, so right now the core structure is more or less what Nick just laid out. We've got Nova Labs is one of the core development teams. They are a private company. They're funded. They're doing their whole thing. They've got the spinoff, spun up, whatever it is, 1663, which is their IoT initiative focused, division, and then the Helium Foundation is a separate thing. I think the DY. I think that more or less became Helium Foundation. I'm
Yeah.
not really sure exactly where that all kind of. I think a lot of our email still goes to those funky
Yeah.
URLs.
Yeah.
But yeah, then Helium Mobile, that is more or less I'm trying to think how to explain that. That is a Nova product. And there
Okay.
are a lot of little nuances kind of on there's the Helium Mobile network, there's the Helium network, depending on which adjectives and which nouns and which order, you get a slightly different company.
Yeah.
So yeah,
No,
a
it's a
little
little
bit of word
confusing.
soup, but yeah.
Good question. Good question. Ripping. All right, guys. Well, I think that wraps it up. If we're a minute early closing, that's fine with me. If you are watching this and you want always the latest, greatest, up-to-date information, check out the Helium Discord. I think that's the single best place to get all that stuff. If you have questions and you don't want to talk to people, read the announcements. Everything is in the announcements if you're willing to read. If you don't mind talking to people and you don't mind dealing with I would think of it as a funny thing. Some people might think of it as a little abrasive, but the general in there is pretty good about answering questions really quickly. Or the Solana migration channel in there as well. And then you can always watch the videos that I've been putting out on YouTube. There's a whole playlist of the Solana transition series where like everything is 60 seconds or less. And that should help you get through. Is there anything else, Daniel or Sam, that you can think of for resources for folks who want to learn more? Sam, I'll start with you.
Yeah, I mean, I'm always going to plug the official documentation. It's docs.helium.com. That's
Thank
that's
you.
my whole bag. I got to say it. That said, there's a lot of heavy rewrites being done. We're only now recently able to move to the place where we're not saying old and new was and to be. We can just say is, and it's great. So there's a lot of heavy work being done there, and anyone can contribute. It's all open source. So if you see problems or you've got issues, please call them out. There's even a documentation channel within the Discord itself that looks like a lot of just a GitHub bot saying things, talking there. I watch that one like a hawk. So if there's anything wrong or anything that needs to be adjusted, please call it out there for sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
Ripping. Daniel, where do you go for info?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, hats down for the Helium team. For this thing was amazing. It was like it's not 100% over yet,
but damn, it was
and
way better than we thought it was going to be. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, considering the history with the network, that was much smoother than a lot of smaller feats that happened in the past, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and then we had a hotspot. We were like working pretty hard to always try to help everyone to learn as much as possible and manage their fleet and try to like put a little bit of sanity on that. So bear in mind that there's a lot of work done on our end as well. We're a much smaller team than the Helium Foundation or Nova. So we're trying really hard to do with what we can with what we have. But yeah, always happy to help whenever we can.
Cool.
Wag me.
Ripping. Wag me. Yeah, we're all going to make it. Love it. All right, guys. I will see the folks watching on this next week. I'll see the rest of you guys on Discord. Sam, you're always welcome on here. Thanks a ton for coming on, making time. Appreciate that. And Daniel, always good to see you guys. We'll catch you next time.
All right. Thanks all.
We're out.